Welcome to the first episode of our brand new city that's going to be based off of Chicago. As you guys can probably assume, we're going to be using primarily the Northeast Pack and also the urban promenades and other DLCs to make a really stunning Northeast-based city. If you guys are just as excited as I am, leave a comment and a like. We're not going to waste too much time, guys. We're going to get straight into it. What's up, guys? This is my second time recording this, so we're going to get straight into it. And today, man, we're going to be building a city kind of like represented by Chicago. It's going to be something that's very familiar to people who live in Chicago. I want it to be something to where it's like, it almost has that Chicago feel to it. That's going to be our primary thing that we're going to be pulling from when building this city. And I'm really excited to just kind of like bring it to life. It's something I've been planning for a minute with the Northeast Pack. I think it's going to be something that's like pretty awesome. So we're not going to waste too much time. We're going to kind of get into the bones of the city. So we're going to make a lot of our arterials. We're going to make a lot of our highway system and kind of figure this stuff out. Now, one big thing I know for sure that I want to do is I want to sink this highway down simply because if you look at Chicago has a lot of sunken highways. I want to kind of replicate that look to it. Now, we're not going to be doing like the main cityscape of Chicago. I want to use that for a different video. That's probably going to be this area up here. This is going to be like our big downtown, like cityscape, huge high-rise Chicago area. So that's going to be like a future video. But for now, we want to kind of make like the suburbs / like medium density area with the row housing and stuff that surrounds Chicago, kind of like in this area. Now, the two big things that I feel like you have to nail for a Chicago-based city is going to be sunken highways, for one. And for two, you want to make sure you have a pretty intricate roadway system. So those two things are going to be things that we're going to be focusing in on this episode and kind of like figuring out exactly how we want it to go. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this stuff out of here. Then we're going to kind of just like sink down a little bit, and then we're just going to get in here and make our sunken highway. First thing you want to do, you want to get your level tool. You're going to go down. Probably about there, right? Then we're gonna take our level tool. We're gonna take it, drag across. We're gonna take that, and we're gonna take this level tool all the way over to this area, kind of like staying along this track. Also, I do want to make sure that this area is flanked by two highways. So I want to have highway coming through here, and then I want to have a highway that travels along this area, and then we have our main one that kind of is like the backbone of the city on the back end. So these two highway systems, which are going to be one on the outside, one on the inside, and that may turn into like just one-way roads depending on where we're at. Those two roads, like two highway systems, are going to be our basically the full presence of the city. Like it's going to kind of like contain what we have going on. So yeah, we're just going to take our level tool and we're just going to level all the way across. Now we're just going to take our highway and start the process, really. All right, and there is our sunken highway. Another thing that I see that is common with Chicago is that they have like, well, at least with this area, they have like a flanking road that just kind of like carries on across and just kind of like travels along these highway systems that they use for the on and off ramps. So that's how we're gonna do our city as well. Alright guys, so this is a great example of how this is going to end up looking. Yeah, we just basically have our highway coming through. It's going to connect with on and off ramps Within this area, we're gonna make more intricate like on and off ramps towards our more so downtown. But for now, this is just gonna be something super simple. This reflects basically like what a Chicago on and off ramp looks like. So next step, we have to go ahead and plan our railway system. So our railway system is going to be a kind of like a dual railway system as well. So same way we have our highway system, the same way we're going to have like a railway system as well. So we're going to run this, we're going to carry this down, and it's going to run all the way through here. It's going to be like more like a green area, because along the coast of most of Chicago area, really, there's a lot of greenery, which looks absolutely beautiful. We're going to try to replicate that same look. The thing we're gonna have to do is take this, go down to our base level, and then run it underneath like that. Before we do that, we're gonna add in our highway system, which is going to run just like similar to that. It's gonna be mainly straight, pretty straight on. It's gonna follow our coastline pretty closely. We'll say to about there. We're gonna add in a little bit of a curve. And from here, actually, we're gonna go ahead and make another on and off ramp. All right, now we have our highway system connected up in both ways. We can come in from this way, or they can come in from that way. Now that we have our main roads figured out, we can now carry this large road down. This is gonna be our main arterial. It's just gonna carry down. It's gonna start bending up here. All right, we're gonna take our complex curve road. This is just strictly to add a cool feature to our main street. That way it's not just, everything's just not fully vertical and grid-like. Just gives us some variety there on what exactly we want. Next big thing is to put down our railway system, which we're going to have follow this road pretty closely, like about here. We're gonna elevate it. All right, so one of our centerpieces is actually going to be our Eastern Central train station, simply because I just love this asset, and it is something that is a little bit more, it just feels a little bit more Chicago, and because it has those different architecture elements, and Chicago is an artsy city if you guys don't know. So there is a lot of different things that are just very artsy about the city that give you very unique things like this. I think having something that's like completely unique to this town is like really something that's going to be really cool to add. Is kind of like that centerpiece of this building. And make this a one-way and just connect these up, giving it ample room to get on and off, simply because the trains to get kind of like caught up if you don't give it enough landing room. And there you have it, our first train station. It looks really cool. It's pretty central. It's just gonna connect up like this main little piece up here. It's just gonna be a really cool train station just to start off the city. We're also gonna do one down here as well. We're also gonna do one down here as well, but instead of this one being more so like an historic version, it's gonna be more so a regular train station of what we would normally see. This one's gonna be from the modern architecture back. It's just gonna be our local train station. So super simple, super cute. You can also add a subway interference at the bottom of it, which is going to be really helpful because Chicago does have subways, if you guys don't know, and that's going to be pretty cool. So for now, we're just going to space that there. We're going to go ahead and give this train station extra tracks. We're going to go ahead and connect it up. All right, Alright, and for now, that is our 2 train stations. I'm kind of implemented to the city. They look really cool together. We're going to want to build really around these 2 central stations. So the next piece is connecting all this stuff together and making it look cohesive, which in some cases could be a little bit difficult, but in our case it should be pretty easy. Because this is supposed to be the historic city center, technically, we're going to kind of build around that. And we're going to start with this large road. We're going to start off with a small couplet system that's going to stem out from our train station. Try and center it up as much as possible. It's about right. All right, now we're just adding in some variety into our grid so that it just doesn't all look the same. I love that we're able to add in all these different like curves and stuff in there and still kind of retaining some of that grid work coming on, because there is a lot of grids in Chicago. We're just really adding on this just for some visual flair. I'm a big fan of visual flair. All right, and there we have it, our main full system over here, which we're going to zone up for this episode. And we also have a small area where we can start to make some industrial over here, as well as we still need power, still need water treatment. So this is going to be the area that we're going to kind of start some of that stuff on as well. As well as really in the beginning of the game, you need to have areas where you can just put plain old industrial at. All right, so first things first, we're gonna need power, which we're gonna put down a geothermal power plant. Ooh, and we need water, so actually we're gonna put it over here. All right, so we're just gonna take our level terrain tool. We're just gonna fill this in just a little bit. Now we'll comfortably put down our geothermal power plant with all its goodness. Next thing up, we need to have a transformer station and probably emergency battery station as well. Simply because we can, and just in case there is a bottleneck or something, we have our bases covered. So the emergency battery station is gonna be closer to the road, I think. So we'll probably put it where we just put that transformer. And they're gonna put our transformer right here. This is gonna go underground to connect everything up. And that's gonna transmit our regular power into power that can be used for our city. We're also gonna take an above ground one, power line. We're gonna connect it to our outside. That way we can sell the power. Now that power can be converted into emergency battery station, or it can just be sold off into wherever, and we can make a little bit of money back from it as well. Next thing we need is a water treatment plant, which I think we're gonna just go ahead and put right here next to it. We're gonna leave the area around it open, kind of like to the back, to the side, just in case we need one of these for some extra development later on. And then we'll go ahead and put our recycling unit out here as well. That way we have some garbage collection going on as well. All right, and that's like our base facilities that we absolutely need. Last thing we need is like a groundwater pumping station, which we'll put, we need to put it in a place to where the water isn't gonna be polluted at any point. So maybe even somewhere out here would do us some good. All right, let's fill in a little bit more zoning over here. A little more room for zoning and industrial, because this eventually is gonna be like a dockyard as well. So we're just keeping it super basic for now. Just something that can be zonable, that we can get a lot of industrial in here. But we want to leave some of this area because I think later on I want to put something like rock. Yeah, we have like a bunch of rock, core, coal. We have a bunch of coal and ore area over here that we can put some of that stuff over here as well. So we're actually not going to zone everything. We're just going to kind of keep it like this for right now. And for now, I think that's awesome. We have some big plans for this later on, but we're just gonna kind of keep it a little bit basic for now, just because I don't want to overwhelm the area, especially because I already know we're gonna have a long episode dedicated to just doing that. All right, so the fun part, now we're gonna get started doing some zoning actually. So for zoning, I like to go in and put a lot of my signature buildings and my services in first, and then go from there. So because we already have our power, our water, and our sewage, as well as garbage, I'll really start putting in our services. Now, things that are important for me are education. Education is like super important for any city. Now keep in mind, for zoning, we're gonna be doing a mixture of the modern architecture DLC, as well as the urban promenades DLC, as well as the northeastern elementary schools and different services and zoning types. All right, so we're gonna start off with our elementary school, which is just gonna be the regular Northeastern high school, because it's gonna be a little bit harder to find a good spot for it. So we're gonna find this spot first, which I wanna kind of keep it towards this side of the city, because this side of the city is gonna have its own elementary. I think I'm going to delete this road, which will give us enough space to put down our high school. And it looks awesome. We're also gonna need extension wings because we're gonna have a lot of students. So because there's going to be a lot of medium density over here. So we're going to need the extra space, as well as our northeastern elementary school, which we're going to place not too far away, maybe about here. I'm actually going to move it over here so that it has an overlook of the bay. We're going to add in some concrete on the sides so that it blends in quite a bit. All right, and that takes up the whole area. Looks really cool. And that's our elementary school and high school done for right now. We also need fire and rescue. We're gonna go and put in a regular fire headquarters, which I would love to put a little bit closer to our industry. So maybe about here. and also on the main road so they can get in, get out pretty quickly. So I think that is a perfect spot for our fire. It's on this corner, overlooks almost everything. It's also close to our main elementary school. It's not too far from our train station, and it can get on the highway or on this main road and go towards an industrial. Also need a northeastern police headquarters, which we will place over towards this area. I'm thinking like right here would be pretty nice, kind of close to our train station in case people want to cause a ruckus. They can just quickly get right there, but it can also just quickly go towards our highway system to get wherever we need to go. Also want to add in a couple different signature buildings, simply because a lot of these buildings just have a big footprint and they're kind of clunky to just place in later on. So I like to kind of like level out where exactly a lot of our stuff's going to be by placing in these signature buildings first, so that we have an idea as to where things may go in the future. Like that kind of sets the tone for this area for me. I think that's a unique area for this building. It's gonna look super cool, kind of just sitting there. We'll make sure to put something next to it. All right, and I think that gives you guys kind of like a realistic view as to how the city's gonna kind of shape out. So as you see, it's gonna kind of get a little bit big over here, and then it's gonna kind of get more so medium again towards here, and then flatten back out once we get around here. Next up is our parking, which for very similar reasons, it can be a little bit clunky. So we're gonna go ahead and put in a couple different parking lots all over the city. All right, and hopefully that is enough parking for right now. And yeah, let's go ahead and start zoning in our real buildings. Now we hit play, we let some of this stuff zone in. We kind of see how it's going. We also want to zone in some of this industrial so that it has some room to zone. We don't want too much, but we want just enough really just to fulfill demands for now. Now, one service we forgot to put in was our cemetery. So we need to put a medical clinic, kind of central. I'm liking right here. Boom. Also, we need to put in a cemetery or a crematorium, which we're gonna go to crematorium route just because it takes up less space. I really like how this low density neighborhood came out. It's really tight. Honestly, super tight. But like in reality, like a lot of residential neighborhoods that flank cities like this are pretty tight. Now what I want to do is add in more parks and stuff like in these areas to create more of a divide. I'm gonna try and put in some pretty central parks to the area. Something like this large playground, and then next to it we can put maybe like a basketball court that flanks it. 2 basketball courts that flank it. This side we might just throw a little dog park in here. just add some variety to the area. Puts in some little green. All right, while we're waiting for things to zone in, I'm gonna add in our passenger roadway. First of all, the one that goes from this one to this one, and just back. Then we're gonna do the ones that go all the way out of the city. All right, and for us to have train cars come in, we actually need a rail yard, obviously. So let's go ahead and create our rail yard, which is going to be out here, simply because we don't want it too far away from everything. I'm gonna have to delete this for right now. Now we officially have our trains. Our city's zoning in super slow, but it is zoning in, so that's the good part. All right, so one thing that I do want to do is I do want to put in a college for people who do end up graduating. Now that we have some people who are college and university eligible, we're going to put in a modern community college over here. Now where, I'm not completely sure yet. I think over here would be a great spot, simply because we have room and it has access to the highway. So if people who live maybe further out want to get over here, they can as well. So I think it might be a good idea to put it right over here. Of course, we're going to do our expansions. The big thing that I definitely want to put in here is our sports field, which honestly, just look how much it just adds to this. Just makes it look huge, gives it a really cool look. I love it. We're also going to add in the other extensions to it, which is this college dormitory, which we'll put 2 of them right next to each other. And we'll also add in our extension wing. And there you have it. Have a cool little college over here. Then we'll also add in a surface, just because we want to give this whole area a different look. Make it as green as possible. Really show that this area is part of the college. That gives us an outlet for people to go to college now. So now they can be even more educated. We have even more office demand in the future. All right, and look how cute this modern community college is. It just fits in perfect with everything that we already have going on. Just gives us that diversity, honestly, that we lack. I also want to add in this community park. So I think we're gonna demolish this road. We're gonna add in a huge community park right here. All right, guys, so for the last step of the city, really, we're just gonna go in and put in just some low density residential over here. We're gonna put in a little bit more down here and kind of like fill in this with some green area. And guys, I think that's gonna be it for episode 1. We're gonna use our next episodes to kind of fill in this area, as well as do some work for our industry, which needs a lot of work, honestly. So for now, I think we're just gonna finish those 2, do some decorations, and that's it for this episode. All right, so I think zoning for this episode is fine. Now we're just gonna go through and do a little bit of detailing. There's still obviously there's so much more zoning that we have to do, and there's a lot of area to fill out, especially like over in this area. But for now, I'm really liking how the city is coming together. I just want to kind of pull in some of that detailing just to make sure the city just completely vibes the way that it's supposed to. All right, and that's the first episode down, guys. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and a comment. That helps me get out to the masses, and I really appreciate you guys for just being so supportive. And for my little return back from hiatus, I ended up getting married, so this is just my return back, and I'm really appreciative for anybody who's returning back to watch my series. Next episode, we're going to be making our awesome, amazing dog, which I just got finished recording the episode, so leave some city name suggestions. I really want to hear some. I really love you guys. Until next time, peace out.